Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Bettor Off Dead, Tuesday, October 7th. It was a winning day yesterday, barely. We did lose the baseball play on the Chicago Cubs, even though they scored 3 runs in the first inning. So top of the first inning, they're already up 3-0. It's like, okay, Imanaga should be able to hold that for most of the time that he's in there. No, he gives up 3 runs immediately. And then the Cubs, by the way, never scored again. And Milwaukee was very efficient with scoring the base runners that they got. And they wound up winning the game, I think, 7-3, I think was the final, something like that. Just pretty annoying, to be honest. It was the wrong side, whatever. Looked like it was the right side right out of the gate. And no, it was not. And then I do think we got lucky. Jeffrey, what's up, man? I think you and I both got lucky on the Jaguars play, to be honest, because Kansas City, I'm pretty sure, outgained them in the game. Kansas City was up 14-0 in the game. Jags did tie it, I believe, before halftime. They had tied it. And then the way the Jaguars took the lead was a 99-yard kick return touchdown. So, I mean, that's something that's a little bit fluky for sure. And they did have the lead for pretty much the rest of the game until it looked like we were going to get, one of those, I don't want to say bad luck, because I think we were getting a little bit lucky with the Jags having the lead at the end of that game. But at that point, they did have the lead, like, right near the end of the game. And Kansas City, of course, did what they do, and they got a touchdown drive really late in the game, which gives me some more fantasy points because I have Mahomes on my team, but didn't need it because I was going to win anyway. I was like, oh my God, Kansas City's going to win by 4, and then we're going to lose by a half point like that. That was going to be a brutal, brutal loser. But no, Jacksonville was able to drive down the field. They put together a good game-winning drive, man. I think they deserved to get the touchdown there on that drive. They didn't have a whole lot of time to do it. Lawrence was able to do it. Got interesting near the end because Jacksonville placed themselves in kind of an unlucky field position because they had 1st and 10 at like the 13-yard line, or somewhere between like the 11 and the 13, maybe something like that. And that is not what you want. You don't want like the first down marker to be right before where the end zone is. It makes it, that's like the most difficult setup to actually get a touchdown when you have that type of setup, because you can't really, you can't get a first down without getting a touchdown at that point, basically. So I don't like that setup. Kansas City committed blatant pass interference on one of the first couple of downs, and it wasn't called. And the defender was all over the receiver for the entire play. He didn't even let him go. Nope, we're just going to let that happen. Then it came down to whatever it was, a 3rd down play, and then they called pass interference on Kansas City, which was also the correct call, but it wasn't as blatant as the other one. On the one that got called, the receiver was basically the defender was face guarding, and he had his back to the ball and made contact. So that was still pass interference. The other one was more blatant. Or I guess the other one could have been called defensive holding too, maybe, because the guy never let him go. But whatever. And then everybody's going to flip out about that call. And then it still took a ridiculous play by Trevor Lawrence to get the game-winning touchdown there, which was if you know the stumble bum play that Ben Johnson ran with Jared Goff that one time against the Bears, where when Ben Johnson was the OC for Detroit still, it was a fake fall by Jared Goff where he fakes falling but doesn't actually fall down. All the people on the offense start yelling fumble, so the defense thinks it's a fumble. One of the receivers gets open, and they throw it to him for a long gain, or in that case, it was a touchdown. Ben Johnson actually tried that with the Bears, by the way, and failed with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams can't do the stumble bomb. And then in the case of the Jaguars, though, just hilarious, man. Trevor Lawrence legitimately fell down on the play, and he was never touched. So he got back up after he kind of fell again, got back up. Nobody touched him. And then I was watching the play. I'm like, this is insane. Like, at first I thought we are absolutely fucked because they didn't have any timeouts left. So they were going to probably have time to clock it and, like, maybe run one more play after, like, a 3-yard loss, if that's what was going to happen. But he got back up. And I'm looking, I'm like, he wasn't touched. He could do something with it. And then I see the field was, like, open in front of him. I'm like, holy shit, he could run this in for a touchdown. And that's exactly what happened. One defender wasn't able to get him. There was one defender who was like a little bit behind him, and he got in for the touchdown. I'm like, holy shit, man. That was a crazy game. A couple of crazy games in the NFL, man. I don't know. I mean, that was, I think we got lucky on that one. You took the Jags minus 3.5? Really? I didn't know that. In the screenshot, I thought you took plus 3.5 at minus 118, I thought is what it was. Because you showed me like the live odds, but I thought your bet was like towards the bottom of the screenshot. Am I wrong about that? Jags minus 3.5 that would not have been a winner because they won by 3. But yeah, they were the 3.5 point underdog on the actual game line. You must have did you lay a live price on minus 3.5? Definitely would not have done that. Live betting probably would have been Kansas City at some point during the game or past the game. Yeah, the NFL was just kind of crazy. There are a couple of crazy results in the NFL, man. Of course, everybody talking about Arizona, which I didn't talk about yesterday. They lost to the Titans. If you had Arizona in Survivor, and that's the way you lost in Survivor, that is something, man. I probably would have been on them too, but I had already used them in week 2 against Carolina, and they almost blew that game. This Arizona team is bad, dude. They're bad. They still should have won the game, though. I mean, you guys saw what happened. They were up 21-6, I think, in the fourth quarter. And then Demercado, who's one of their running backs, because James Conner, who was one of my fantasy draft picks, hurt like 2 weeks into the season. So isn't that just great? They have Demercado is like one of their 2 running backs. He had this huge run. He was going to get a touchdown. And just like Mitchell, I think is his name, on the Colts the previous week, really pissed me off on that one. Demercado did the same thing, and he lost the ball celebrating too early going into the end zone. It wound up being a touchback, loss of possession. Arizona was going to go up 28-6 with that touchdown, assuming they got the extra point. They never scored again after that, and Titans clawed their way all the way back and wound up winning the game on a game-winning. Was it a field goal or a touchdown they won by? I don't know. Whatever it was, they wound up winning the game by 1 in the end. Just absolutely ridiculous, man. Almost seems like it's rigged. Some of this stuff is just crazy, dude. I don't know what else to say about it, but the books wanted that to happen basically because you know that Arizona was like a money line parlay piece for a lot of the recreational bettors. You know that they were a teaser play for some of the recreational bettors too. So Tennessee winning that game outright wiped those out. So the books definitely that definitely helped out the books. That's all I'll say with that result there. I did pick Tennessee against the spread in my Pick'em league, so I got that one right. But just in the ESPN one where you have to pick every single game, where, by the way, I think I'm like 12 above 500 right now, picking every game, so that's not too bad at all. Doing all right over there. Not doing as well with my pick 5 money entry, though, where you have to pick 5 specific picks every week. I was 3-2 this week because Jacksonville got me the third one there. Stacks, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Let's get into today's stuff, though. I don't know. Was there anything else I was going to talk about with the NFL? I mean, the Patriots, of course, got that crazy upset win. We're gonna talk about more of it when we get to the NFL show this week, but I do have some ideas already. And I will say on college football, probably going to have Missouri as one of my plays. I'm going to tell you that now because I think that line is dropping quickly, and I don't know if you're going to be able to get it back. Like, you want to get +3 or 3.5 if you play Missouri. So that is likely to be one of my plays. I'm just going to have to make sure that I'm going to give it out now so that I can give it out at the better line if the better line, is going to go away in the future, which it might. But we might still get it by the time it comes to Saturday. I don't know, because the public will be on Alabama. I know that's going to be a fate of Alabama, which seems difficult to do. But I haven't looked at all the college football yet. Let's get into today, man. It's already been 10 minutes here. We don't have too many games to discuss. I only have one play today, so you guys are going to not love it. But yesterday was a slight win, by the way. I should have mentioned that real quick because we got the Cubs was an underdog play, so that alone made it a slight win just because Jacksonville got the win. But because I always recommend putting a bit on the money line, if you got that little bit of extra money line win on Jacksonville there, then you definitely had a slight win yesterday. Today I have one play. It's going to be in the WNBA. I know. I'm not going to give out a play on either baseball game or any of the NHL today. I just don't, I'm not seeing it. A couple of the NHL games are just massive favorites, like kind of mismatches, so I don't love it. One of them is definitely a mismatch, but I will give out a play in the WNBA. We'll talk about it quick here. This is my only play today, so is it the best bet segment? I don't know. We'll put it out there anyway. Why not? Best bets at the beginning of the show. We're going to lay the 3.5 with Phoenix. It is up to 4 now. It's getting a little bit crazy. It was at 1.5, and now it's all the way up to 4. I wish we got on this earlier because this line just skyrocketed quickly. But I think if Phoenix is going to show up and play a good game and a complete game, it's going to be in this spot. This is an angle that we use in the NBA a lot. We have 52% of tickets, 63% of the cash on Phoenix. So the money is coming in on Phoenix. Phoenix is definitely a good home team, and that's where they are here. It's not a huge travel spot for either team, as the final just happens to be between Las Vegas and Phoenix. Phoenix was 15-7 at home, though with Vegas only 13-9 on the road. So Phoenix does have a decent home advantage here, even though I know Vegas was like a 3-point home favorite. Phoenix being 3.5 at home seems like the line has moved a bit much. Probably would be better to get them at around 2 would make a lot more sense here because you don't get a lot of home court advantage in the WNBA, but they're facing eliminations. You are paying for it, but I think that you're going to get a complete effort from them this time, man. Phoenix is down 0-2, so this is their elimination game, and I know it means pressure is on them. You'd rather have them basically just to win the game or as an underdog, but I think this is where they show up. Teams like in the NBA, when teams are down 0-2 and they come back home, usually you get their best effort in that game, game 3. Usually the 0-2 team gives you a complete effort, and I think that's what we're going to get here. The Aces won the first game pretty close, and then game 2 won in an absolute blowout. And of course, the Aces are way better at home, and Phoenix is not as good on the road, so that was playing into, I think, some of this as well. Vegas is still the better team, in my opinion, even though the odds makers are kind of telling you that's not even the case. I still think they are. But the one thing that really stands out about this game is that Phoenix had a bad shooting game. They were 40.8% from the field versus Vegas, 49.3%. So there was a bit of an outlier discrepancy there in the field goal percentage, but the three-point percentage is a real outlier, 17.9% for Phoenix. So I don't think they're going to shoot that poorly again. I think they'll do better this time. Vegas actually lost the turnover battle in that game, still won the game at home. Don't know if they're going to win the turnover battle. They might lose the turnover battle again, I should say, because usually the home team does win the turnover battle, and the home team sometimes gets some calls. Maybe, there might be, if the league wants to try to extend this series, the league might give Phoenix some calls as well. But that's basically the handicap, man. I think it's a zigzag. Phoenix with more, definitely with more desperation here, but you're going to see them probably playing with more urgency here. They're going to be the team that has the adjustments to make after what happened in the previous game. So Phoenix will be the side in that one. And my only play of the day. All right, let's go to the breakdown segment here. I might break down. I don't know. We got two Major League Baseball games. They're both in the American League. The afternoon game is going to be Seattle at Detroit as we shift venues here. This series is tied 1-1. Seattle, remember, is not as good on the road. Seattle actually below 500 on the road, 39-42 on the road. Detroit, pretty solid at home, 46-35 at home. So something to keep in mind there. There are definitely some home field advantages in baseball this year, man. Both these teams have good bullpens, but Seattle's is the better bullpen. They both have good offenses, but Seattle's is the better offense as well. So I do think Seattle has some advantages. They're the better team, and Seattle's actually being lined as a favorite here, which might be going a little bit too far. I mean, seeing Seattle is this much of a favorite on the road, I don't know if I buy it. I mean, I'm not going to buy it, as I'm not going to give it out as a play, but they're up from -118 to -130. 62% of tickets, 78% of the cash on them. They are my pick to win the World Series, which seems a bit out there because Seattle's never won the World Series before. They're an inexperienced team, and we don't even know if Brian Wu is going to come back or not, as we're 3 games in here and we haven't seen him yet. Logan Gilbert is going to be pitching this game for Seattle, but the money looks like it is coming in on Seattle. And it's a bit on the under, even though the total flipped from 7.5 juice to the under to 7.5 juice to the over. 63% of tickets, only 55% of cash on the over. I mean, I could definitely see an under if you think both of these starting pitchers are going to come out and pitch well, and that is a definite possibility. But the pitching matchup is hard for me to gauge. As Logan Gilbert, he was one of the better pitchers for Seattle this season. Maybe their second best besides Wu. 3.44 ERA, 1.03 whip, really good. Not as good on the road, though. Remember, these Seattle pitchers, they pitch a lot better at home in that pitcher-friendly park, and Gilbert's splits are pretty crazy. His ERA was 2.5 runs higher on the road at 4.74, so you don't really want to have money on him on the road in most cases. He did pitch well down the stretch, though, including 3 road starts in September, 2.3 ERA, 29-5 strikeout walk ratio. So that's all pretty good. He allowed 2 or fewer earned runs over the entire month. So he was pitching well on the road there. He's in good form right now. The one other thing you might have to worry about with Gilbert is I don't know how experienced he really is in pitching in the playoffs. I don't know if he's ever made a playoff start before. He hasn't made one this year yet, so could be a little bit of a pressure scenario. We'll see. And his numbers against Detroit are not terrific. In 77 at-bats, 21-5 strikeout walk ratio is good. 299 batting average allowed is very high, though. But he hasn't really allowed any power to them. They don't have any home runs off him, so he's held them to a 718 OPS. But Detroit has hit him for a lot of contact. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. And then I usually look at what have they done against that opponent this year. He did pitch at Detroit at one point this year, and he went 5 1/3, didn't give up any earned runs. So he did pitch pretty well against them in that start with 9 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 5 1/3, which was in July. And then he did pitch against them once early in the season on April 1st and had 10 strikeouts against them at home, 3 earned runs in 5 innings. So he did pitch pretty well against them, struck out a lot of guys. So certainly is possible Gilbert does come out and pitch well here. Generally, he is the better pitcher. If you just look at these two and say which one of these guys is the better pitcher, it is Gilbert. He's going up against Jack Flaherty for Detroit here, who had a pretty mediocre season. 4.64 ERA, 1.28 whip, although Flaherty is better at home. 4.18 ERA at home. His home ERA is better than Gilbert's road ERA. So that is something to keep in mind. And Flaherty has a decent amount of experience in the postseason, of course. He was there last year with the Dodgers. He's been around for a while. He made one start already this postseason in the wild card round against Cleveland. They didn't overwork him. They pulled him before the end of the 5th inning. He only allowed 1 earned run. Wasn't too bad. 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So Flaherty, he pitched okay there. He's going up against a better offense this time in Seattle, but his numbers against Seattle, I mean, they're also kind of mediocre just because he's allowed too much power to them. On 101 at-bats, 40-10 strikeout walk ratio is good. 238 batting average allowed is low, but a 778 OPS is pretty high. 6 home runs allowed, but 5 of the 6 are from Arozarena and Suarez, not Raleigh. Raleigh actually doesn't do that well against him. So interesting. Suarez, one of their trade deadline pickups, actually crushes Flaherty for home runs at least. So that is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want anything to do with this game, man. I don't even know if I have an opinion on it, to be honest. I mean, the money is saying Seattle and the under. I mean, I could see the arguments for it, but I could see arguments the other way, too. So just, I guess, do with that information what you will, but I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't want to force myself to give out an opinion. Although, generally, if I don't have one, I will kind of resort to, what is the market telling me? And then Toronto at the Yankees. Toronto's up 2-0 in the series, but I'm still not convinced that Toronto's going to win the entire series. I mean, hopefully they do. They got 3 chances here where they got to win 1 game out of the next 3. But Toronto's not as good on the road. They're 40-41 on the road. Yankees are really good, 50-31 at home. So the Yankees definitely are good at home. Yankees are going to have a decent pitching setup, I think, for the most part, for the remainder of the series. Although I'm happy that Toronto did win both those first 2 games. But Toronto won in such a ridiculous fashion, man. They put up 23 runs in the first 2 games of the series, and a lot of it was against the Yankees bullpen. I know the Yankees bullpen is bad, for sure. Toronto's is mediocre. Yankees bullpen is less than mediocre. So Toronto does have a better bullpen. Both teams have good offenses, although the Yankees offense is a little bit better. But Toronto putting up 23 runs in the first 2 games of a series, I believe that's never happened before in the postseason. So it is a bit of a ridiculous outlier. So you got to expect some regression to happen here. So the Yankees side kind of makes sense from that perspective. But Toronto is going with Shane Bieber here. And Shane Bieber, he's had a good career, man, and he's not overworked this season because he missed most of the season coming back from Cy Young surgery, man. That's what he had. No, coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think he did win a Cy Young, or he was at least in the discussion for Cy Young back in, I guess it would have been 2022 or maybe 2020. I don't know. He had 2022 probably, because 2020 he didn't pitch the full season. He had a really good 2022, but he's been really good throughout his career, man. He's an experienced pitcher. I'm pretty sure he's pitched in the playoffs before, so he's not going to be intimidated by this. This season, he had a 3.57 ERA and 1.02 whip. He was slightly worse on the road, 3.93 ERA, but that's still good. Still pitched well in the month of September, although a little bit less well, 4.03 ERA, 22-7 strikeout walk ratio, but he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in the last 3 outings. Hasn't pitched yet this postseason, which does mean that he's rested, but again, you have to kind of figure out rest versus rust here. Will that extra time off kind of affect the pitcher's scheduling? I don't know. I mean, with him, when it's guys like him who are veterans and they've been around for a while, they're pretty much used to it, so I don't know how much it'll really affect him. He's also been really good against the Yankees in the past, in 52 at-bats, 18-3 strikeout walk ratio, 154 batting average allowed, and 488 OPS. They only have 8 hits off him, and 6 of them are Goldschmidt and Stanton. So only 4 Yankees hitters have any hits off him, which is pretty insane. So Bieber has done really well against them. He's going up against Carlos Rodon, who I think is the lesser of the 2 pitchers, although he was good down the stretch too. 3.09 ERA in the season, 1.05 whip. He was good at home, 2.98 home ERA. In the month of September, 2.61 ERA, 26-6 strikeout walk ratio. Allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every outing, although 2 or fewer in all of them until the last one against the White Sox. He did give up 3 earned runs in his 1 playoff outing against the Red Sox, but it was a decent outing, and of course, the Red Sox wound up losing that game by 1 run, which pisses me off, obviously, because the Red Sox had their chances to eliminate the Yankees in that game. Rodon went 6 innings in that one, 3 earned runs, allowed 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. The walks were a little bit high, but since he walked too many guys in August, he got his walk number way down since then. So I don't think he's all of a sudden wild again or anything like that. Against Toronto, a little bit questionable. In 114 at-bats, 30-13 strikeout walk ratio. A bit too many walks there. 254 average allowed and 752 OPS. So they have been able to hit him a bit. So his numbers are the worst of the 2 between him and Bieber. The money's coming in on the Yankees. They're up for -147 to -152. I mean, they're facing elimination, and they're the Yankees, so I do think that means you're going to pay maybe a little bit too much of a price for the Yankees, but then again, because everybody saw what Toronto did in the first 2 games of the series, maybe you're actually getting taxed less on the Yankees than you would be otherwise. 66% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the Yankees. So the money is coming in on the Yankees. I'm hoping Toronto can do it, man. I do think Bieber is the better of these two pitchers, and he does have the better matchup numbers. So if he's able to do it, to me, I mean, I think Toronto can win this game, but it does concern me a lot, obviously, and the money is disagreeing with that. I mean, if I had a lean, it would probably be slightly to Toronto in this game, to be honest, just because I do think they have the better pitching throughout this game. But Yankees are going to show up with a lot of motivation. The Yankees are a lot better at home, so I wouldn't want to do it, man. And there's definitely a possibility that the Yankees win that game, obviously. So those are my thoughts on that. Let's go to hockey, as it is opening day in the National Hockey League. Jeffrey, I apologize. I'm not going to have any plays on this, and I don't have a whole lot to say, to be honest. A couple of these games I don't find to be that interesting, but we do have hockey, and the opening face-off for the first game is at 5:07. Weird start times for these games, man, in hockey, baseball. It's all weird. Chicago Blackhawks at Florida Panthers is the first game of the season. I guess we don't have any of those weird international games this year before the beginning of the season, although I'm sure there will be some in the middle of the season. I assume all of these games are just at the team's home locations, though, right? I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is the case. Yeah. So this is of course, this is at Florida. This is the banner raising ceremony for Florida. Thank you, sir. So Florida, of course, we know they're the returning champs, right? So they're going to raise the banner. I could see that going both ways, to be honest. Like, you know that because Florida's the returning champs, you're not going to find any value in laying a price with Florida. You're going to lay too much of a price with Florida because everybody knows how good they are. Chicago is still kind of in a rebuild. I mean, they have some young talent on this team. They were one of the worst teams in the league last year, but at some point they're going to improve. But it's like, how drastic is that improvement going to be just from last year to this year? I don't know. I mean, I still don't think they're going to be very good, but again, it remains to be seen. It's difficult to say, man. I don't know the personnel that well in hockey, so it's really difficult to tell. And, of course, Chicago, one of their main pieces is Connor Bedard, and he came into the league at like 19 years old, so very, very young. So at some point, the Chicago team will be better. I don't know how immediate that is going to be. Florida, again, you know they're being overvalued. And when the banner raising ceremony happens, I could see that going two ways. It can piss off the opponent and make the opponent more motivated, but this isn't really a rivalry game, so I don't know if I see that. Like, if this game was against, like, Boston or, against Edmonton, who had lost 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row against Florida, then I can see, yeah, that team is going to be pissed and have, like, a super revenge motive here. But when it's Chicago, I don't really know. I mean, no real, like, huge rivalry here. And, of course, it could have the other effect, too, where the team gets pumped up with their banner being raised and whatever. We will see what happens. Florida's a huge favorite here, but the money line did drop on them down from minus 330 to minus 280. But they have the cash percentage on them right now, 76% of tickets, 85% of the cash on Florida. So the money is somewhat coming in on them. Hockey is similar to baseball. If you guys haven't seen any of my hockey handicapping before, it's a lot of, so there's money line, a lot of money line plays because it's a money line sport, but there is sort of the equivalent of a spread bet. Like we have the run line in baseball. We have a puck line in hockey. That's basically the same thing where you can take teams to come within 1.5 goals or win by 1.5 goals. So with a money line like this, you're probably looking more towards a puck line in this game. And if you think there's any value in fading Florida, because Florida's probably a little bit overvalued here, you could be looking to a Blackhawks puck line at plus 1.5 goals. I don't know how much you'd have to pay for that, because in hockey you have to pay a little bit more for that because goals obviously are harder to come by than runs in baseball. So each goal is worth a little bit more than each run in baseball. Did Florida lose their captain to injury? Which captain? They have multiple captains, don't they? Let me see. Let's see what the injury report says here. It looks like Barkov is out for Florida. He is one of their better players. I don't know if he's their captain or not. He's one of their centers. He's out. He had ACL and MCL and missed. He's going to miss, I guess, most of the season. So he's going to be out. I mean, it's a pretty key injury, but it's not like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's like this is hockey, man. So hockey, I mean, there's only so much effect that one like star player can really have in one single game. Because hockey, you're constantly rotating in and out lines. You usually got like 4 different lines of players. So I don't know how much of an effect that will have. It doesn't seem to be affecting the line very much, and it shouldn't. Like, I know I talk about like the injured player theory. I think it is much more impactful in basketball and football when there's a quarterback injury, because those are like an individual basketball player who's really, really good, or a quarterback. Those are the injuries that have the most impact, because those are the individuals that have the most impact on a game. In hockey, it's a little bit less so the case. So I don't know. The Barkov injury, I don't think it's going to affect the team in general that much. And then we do get into the night slate here. Pittsburgh and the Rangers. It kind of interesting, man, because both of these teams, we're used to seeing these teams in the playoffs, and they both missed the playoffs last year. They're both original 6 teams, and I believe so is Chicago. So some of 3 of the 06 are playing today, and all of the other 2 of the other 3 are playing tomorrow. Or no, all 3 of the other ones are playing tomorrow. Montreal, Boston, and Toronto. But yeah, Pittsburgh and the Rangers, they both kind of had down years last year, but the Rangers really just underperformed last year, man. The odds makers are telling you the Rangers are the better team. Pittsburgh was like legitimately bad last year, which sounds weird to say, but they were. Rangers up from -205 to -219. I mean, we're gone from the Pittsburgh era where they had, I think they probably still have Sidney Crosby, but he's really old now. I mean, they got these guys that are well past their prime now. 83% of tickets, 96% of the cash on the Rangers. Rangers taking a lot of money here. And again, when you handicap hockey, you got to look to see like who the starting goalies are and whatever, because that comes into play with the handicap as well. But that happens, it mostly has an effect when you get into the season. You see, oh, this team's going to have their backup goalie and whatever, because teams use multiple goalies, right? Goalies don't play every single game, although some teams have their goalie play most games. But in this game, it's the first game of the season, so unless there's an injury, the starting goalie is going to play for every team here. But yeah, the money's coming in on the Rangers. Does seem like a bit of a price to lay with the Rangers here, although with a Rangers team that might be a little bit, the public might be a little bit off of the Rangers after how bad they were last year, but I think they're going to want nothing to do with Pittsburgh either, though. But what do we want to do with this game? I don't fucking know, dude. I mean, both of these teams are going to show up because this is a pretty big, it's a big matchup, man. I mean, these teams are in the same conference or whatever. They don't really like each other particularly. They're both usually playoff teams, so you have that going on there. I don't know what else to say about it, but that's actually, I got the original 6 wrong. I'm an idiot. Pittsburgh's not one of them. Detroit is one of them, right? So Detroit's not playing until Thursday, I guess. So, yeah, I'm an idiot. But, yeah, something to keep in mind there. Affect the heart for the game on, what do you mean? Like, what effect will it have? So, like, Florida with the banner raising, like, I mean, I think it might make them like a little bit overconfident and cocky. I don't know. I mean, Florida, they've won 2 Stanley Cups in a row. But then again, it means they're used to it because they did it last year, right? And I think they actually, we could check, but I think they actually lost to Boston last year in the opener. Am I right about that? Because I think I had Boston. I think I gave out the Bruins as a play in that game. Am I right? Hold on. I'm going to look real quick. No, I think I gave out Boston, but Florida actually won the game. So in the banner-raising ceremony last year, the opening game, it was against Boston. Yeah, and Florida won that game. So I guess do with that information what you will. I thought the Bruins were going to show up in that game, man, and be really, really angry. But that's because the Bruins got knocked out of the playoffs by Florida that year, and then they got knocked out again this past year. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a revenge motive for the Bruins in that one. But that means Florida's used to playing in the banner raising situation, man. So they won in the situation last year. They obviously could do it again. And it's not a team that's really one of their rivals. This is going to be really, really angry. And then the only competitive line is in this late night game with Colorado at LA. The money's coming in on Colorado. Colorado down from -110 to -108. So the odds makers are kind of telling you that Colorado's the better of these two teams. even though Colorado kind of put up less of a fight in the playoffs. Well, I thought Colorado was going to make a nice run in the playoffs last year, and they did not, because what else is new? Colorado seems to just underperform in the playoffs. I think people are going to actually maybe have a tendency to want to be more on the Kings this time because of what they saw in the playoffs last year. Kings were a bit better. I think the Kings they either won one series or they played really well in the first series at least and kind of surprised people. 60% of the tickets are on the Kings. 52% of the cash coming in on Colorado. So the money is coming back in on Colorado. The odds makers are telling you that Colorado's the better team here, though, because the Kings don't have the full home ice built into the line here. Although the Kings are really, really good at home, man. I think they had the best home record last year out of all of the teams. Like, the Kings were some ridiculous record at home. Like, I think they only had, what was it, I don't know. I can look real quick, actually. They had some really, really good home record last year. I can check real quick. Let me see. Schedule. Look at last year. Oh, yeah, that's right. The Kings put up a decent fight against Edmonton, but they got knocked out. Yeah, the Kings were 31-6-4 at home last year. So they were ridiculous at home last year. They hardly lost at all at home. So it is definitely difficult to fade the Kings at home. So I really don't want to do it, even though the money is saying Colorado. Colorado may very well be the better team here. But I can't bring myself to do it because of how great the Kings were at home last year. Colorado did kind of underperform last year. So just those are basically my thoughts on the game, man. So you can see what the money is doing there. There isn't a whole lot else to really say about it. I mean, both these teams are pretty good. I think they'll continue to be good this year. That's what I got, man. That's pretty much what I got. But, both teams are going to show up for this game, too. I mean, this is a situation where both teams were good last year. It's the opening game. I mean, the teams are going to show up. And all these games are on ESPN, by the way. But that game is the most competitively lined. Could be the most interesting of the games. And that's going to do it, man. Mark, what's up, man? Mac, what's going on? A lot of people are on the Blackhawks. Yeah, you like Bennett. I don't like Bennett because of what he did to my Boston Bruins. Not a fan of his play against them, but he's obviously good. Yeah, I mean, Florida has a lot of offensive talent. I mean, Barkov is good, but they're still going to be good without him, obviously. So you're going to parlay Panthers with the over. Interesting. I didn't see what the market was doing on the total. I don't do hockey totals too often. I mean, I actually, well, I don't know if I should say that because it was probably the sport where I did the second most totals last year was hockey. Baseball, obviously, by far the most, but I did play some hockey totals last year, and it was mostly overs in situations where I thought both teams were in a bad spot. The over, by the way, is getting 89% of tickets and 95% of the cash in that game. Mark likes Colorado as well. I mean, the money is saying that, but I just can't fade the Kings at home, man. Yeah, they were really good on the road 2 years ago. I don't know, man. I don't want to fade them. You like overs in every one of these games. I don't know, man, because I think part of the reason why the totals are low, the 5.5 is like a typical hockey total, but part of the reason why it's so low, and of course 5 is a key number, remember, because one team has to win by 1 goal. So same as baseball, the odd number is the key number. So if you play a total, you want to try to get on the better side of the 5. But usually sometimes you're not going to be able to, though, when you play an over. I mean, it's just the nature of these hockey totals. You don't have a whole lot of variance in the line there. It's usually almost always going to be 5, 5.5, or 6, I believe. But I don't know, man, because the offenses could start slow to start the season. So I'm not sure that I totally agree with the overs there generally. Yeah, money and the ticket percentage are all in Florida. Florida's public, but I don't think there's any value on Florida. I mean, the money line did drop on Florida. So, I mean, you're not going to really get any value on the back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champs there. So, I mean, if you wanted to play the Blackhawks, you could have at it. I would probably play the +1.5 puck line, depending on what the price is on that. But I just don't want any part of it. I really don't. So, eventually I'll have hockey plays, but not today. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks for hanging out this morning. The one play is the WNBA, Phoenix -3.5. It looks like it's mostly 4s across the board now there, but I do think Phoenix puts together a good performance and wins that game tonight. That's going to do it, man. Let's get that win tonight. Let's continue this because we've only had one losing day in the past 2 weeks, basically. So we're hot right now. Let's keep it going. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Follow me there. Bettor Off Dead. Obviously, subscribe to the channel here. Let's boost this YouTube channel, man. Let's get it going. Want to get to 500 subscribers. I need all these milestones, man. Want to blow this thing up. Covered in Uke, also on YouTube for my Uke stuff. Bettor Off Dead is also on the audio platforms. You can give me a review and listen on Apple and Spotify, and that helps me out as well. And patreon.com/learntotode, and there's some bonus Uke content there. You're going to fade Florida all season. It's got to depend on the spot, man. Individual spots. I mean, Florida, they're going to be good again. I mean, I don't think they're going to three-peat, but they're definitely going to be one of the better teams in hockey again, unless we see otherwise. But they're definitely going to be spots to fade them too. Man. Thanks for hanging out. Hell yeah. I'll be back tomorrow with Wednesday. Wednesday, we have college football on Wednesday now, starting this week. College football, usually you start getting these Conference USA Wednesday games start coming in midway through the season, and then MACtion on Tuesday. The MAC has Tuesday games starting probably next week or something. So we're going to have some college football tomorrow. There's more NHL tomorrow. Don't know if I'm going to have any plays yet. And then, and there's going to be more baseball. So we'll be back tomorrow with all that. And then football for the rest of the week. Peace out, guys, for now.